So the stars are going to be out today, right? And it's Mahomes and it's Dak and it's Pickens and it's Kelsey. But Schefter, these games tend to be decided by names that everyone doesn't know. And there is big news for the Chiefs on Trey Smith.
He has a sprained ankle. He's been ruled out of the game. He's been ruled out of a game in which the center of Dallas's defensive line suddenly has become a force with Quinnen Williams, who they acquired from the Jets. The Dallas defense in the 2 games that Williams has played has been markedly improved, dramatically different, and today they will take on a Chiefs offense missing their best offensive lineman.
Which is critical. And D. Wood and I were talking about this in the production meeting this morning. Head-to-head with Quinnen Williams, the new acquisition. So keep an eye on the interior of that defense. Now, our buddy Rex Ryan has been screaming and yelling for the Chiefs, please run the ball, please run the ball, please run the ball. Last week they ran the ball and it was effective. With the absence now of their guard, how much do you think that this game is about the Chiefs running it? They're going to get Pacheco back as well, I think, today.
Yep.
And how much of this game is about Mahomes just airing it out?
Listen, at the end of the day, it's still going to come down to Mahomes, but I do think they still need to be committed to running the football because you got to keep a defense honest. Last thing you want is your team to become one-dimensional and these guys start pinning their ears back because ultimately in that defense, that's what they want to do. All defense linemen want to rush the passer. So Andy Reid and company has to still be committed to running the football.
I definitely think it comes down to that. But what you started off with where you said, I know it's all about Patrick Mahomes. That's what it's about. And Patrick Mahomes playing in Dallas, a Texas kid, coming home of such. That's what we're going to be watching for. Yes, we want to see if Kareem Hunt, Isaiah Pacheco, can they pick up 4 or 5 yards a carry? The hell with all of that. I want to see Patrick Mahomes, when he gets a guy open, complete that pass, him running around. Go ahead, Chef.
Now, here's my question for you. As a former player,
does
it mean more to you when you're going back to your home area?
Oh, my gosh, yes.
And does it mean more to you if you're going back to your home area and you're playing in Jerry's World on Thanksgiving Day?
Oh, it means everything, especially when you've been paid as much as Mahomes has. Now, when you got the 70 ticket requests you can actually afford for all the fans. When you're playing back, you're on that rookie contract, you're like, you have to buy your own ticket. That's why we start off the show and we were talking about Dak Prescott.
Yeah.
Because think about it, Patrick Mahomes from the Dallas area. Yeah. He's going to want to show out.
Oh, yeah.
Well, guess what? If you're Dak Prescott, you don't want the opposition to come into your house and show out. So I think that's why I think you made the initial statement like, this could be like a legacy type of game for Dak Prescott going head-to-head against Patrick Mahomes.
No doubt about it, because when you talk about those 2 quarterbacks and you mention their names, right away we think about Patrick Mahomes in this light of potential greatest of all time. When we look at Dak Prescott, we're like, all right, Dak's a good quarterback, but he falls short at some moment. To have this game today and have so many people watching, those 2 guys go at it, it's going to be so much fun to see who comes out on top.
And we were just talking about the importance of the game to the Packers and the Lions and how the loser will be on the outside looking in. Well, if Dallas loses today, it's 5-6-1. Done.
Their chance of making the playoffs is 4%.
Okay. And if the Chiefs lose today, they're 6-6.
That's the big one.
And they're not going to win the division. Now, again, I have confidence in that team being able to go on the road in the playoffs and win 3 road games. And Mahomes joins Brady and Rodgers
he fits
as one of those guys. But if they lose today, that's their path.
At Baltimore, Joe Burrow making his return, playing for the first time since the turf toe injury in week 2. His counterpart, Lamar Jackson, also dealing with all kinds of injury issues. He's had a knee, he's had an ankle, he's had a toe, all since coming back from the hamstring last month. But the 2 have had some memorable matchups. In fact, Joe Burrow has been very good against the Ravens. In his last 4 games against Baltimore, the Bengals have averaged 29 points a game. Burrow has thrown 12 touchdowns, 2 picks. Bengals, however, have lost all 4 games because they've allowed
Unbelievable.
over 34. Well, because their defense is just so unbelievably bad. And that brings us back to the thing you said off the top of the show today. What is your big picture take on this game?
It's ludicrous to bring him back here. For what? What would be the thought process? Like if you're Cincinnati,
I'll tell you what. For what? They're 3 games behind in the win column, and they play the Ravens twice. So what if he wins both those games against the Ravens?
What's the probability of that happening?
Well, no.
Wedged in between, you have the Buffalo game as well, which doesn't necessarily matter for the division when we talk about tiebreakers. But if you're a team that's set up to make a run in the postseason, and the only problem is the quarterback's hurt, but he's coming back, that's one thing. You have one of the worst defenses in the NFL. Tonight, there's no Trey Hendrickson. There's no T. Higgins. You're a 7-point dog. You're going to lose this game, and when you do, you're going to be 3-9. we're talking about Kansas City and whether or not they can get in the playoffs. They're 3 games clear of Cincinnati.
Right.
So you might have a shot, but if you win tonight, are you going to beat Baltimore again in 2 weeks? It's unlikely you're going to take them out twice.
If you win tonight, why couldn't you beat Baltimore? I don't like their chances tonight.
Right, I hear you.
Okay, but they have a chance to win tonight, and they got Joe Burrow back, so they believe they're going to win tonight.
So I think
Even
we're hearing
with Burrow, you just saw it on the graphic, though. Even with him historically, you don't win because it's never been about Burrow. It's about everything else.
That's right. If Burrow could play safety and linebacker, they would have a better chance tonight. He can't do that. The only answer I can give, because I've had the same thought as you, and I've been waiting for someone up here to bring this up. Because it's obviously something a lot of fans are thinking.
Yeah.
Why in the world is he coming back to play? He's so beat up. He gets hurt every single year, it seems. You know, they feel like they have no chance to do anything meaningful this year, even if they somehow win the division at 9-8, which is next to impossible to believe. They're not winning a championship. The only answer I can give to it is he's a football player, and football players play football. That's really the only answer I can think of.
And initially, I had the same exact thought process as Joe when I saw that, because you look at the Bengals team and you're like, with or without Joe Burrow, doesn't matter. They were putting up 30 points a game with Flacco out there at one point. But then you really start to think about it, the career of an NFL player. You only get a finite amount of years. Within those years, there's only a certain amount of games. For Joe Burrow, you're also not only trying to win the division, win the game, win a Super Bowl, but you're also your own legacy that you're putting out there. And the only way to talk about legacy and be a good player, you got to be out there producing. So I think for him, yes, there's the teammate component of it, of wanting to be out there with your guys. But then the other side of it is you grew up playing football as a peewee player because you love the game and you want to be out there competing.
So I totally get why he would want to play. I guess, D. Wood, the question would be, if that decision were going to come, it would not come from him. You would never expect it. You don't get to be Joe Burrow by saying, I don't want to play.
Right.
It would have to come from someone above. If you were that someone above, how would you be approaching this?
Listen, you want all your guys out there playing. The thing I was surprised about was you said last week Joe Burrow wanted to play, and Zach Taylor was like, no. Usually, a guy of Joe Burrow's stature, you as a coach, I don't care who it is, coach, whatever, you tend to lean on the players like, okay, if you feel good enough to play, then you're going to go out there and play because that's what players do. So, listen, if Joe Burrow's healthy, it doesn't matter. He's going to play. Like, that's the bottom line. We don't, like, as players, the worst place to be is injured. You don't feel a part of the team. So now that he's back healthy,
hey,
that's the deal.
Bengals don't win, if the Bengals get mathematically eliminated, you want to have that conversation that Joe Burrow should be resting, I agree with you there. But as long as they have some sort of chance, not great, but some sort of chance of keeping their season alive, I want the guy out there.
I want to even push back on that. Even when you're mathematically eliminated.
He's going to want to play.
He's going to want to play.
I understand.
That's what players do.
There are going to be players across the league, maybe not quite of his stature, but players across the league that continue playing when their team is mathematically eliminated. All that said, I totally get the way you see it. It is time for today's Thanksgiving Day Green List, and for this day, I have put together the top 5 Thanksgiving Day performances of all time.
Okay.
And we are about to see the truest legends in the history of the sport. Number 5, go back to 1977. Bob Greasy, legendary quarterback, Miami Dolphins, threw 6 touchdowns for Miami in a 55-14 win over the Cardinals, who then played in St. Louis. Look at the grainy footage. Look at Greasy with the glasses.
Glasses, yeah.
6 touchdown passes for Greasy. That was a Thanksgiving Day record.
Oh,
wow.
Until
no
2004,
no one has gloves.
which is when Peyton Manning matched it. Peyton Manning threw 6 touchdowns for Indianapolis as they beat the Lions 41-9.
I played in that game. It was a miserable experience. That game was over by the half. It was
should have checked in on defense.
I think that's being kind. All right, let's get even better. Number 3, show me Lawrence Taylor.
Oh boy.
1982. LT.
Oh!
Look at him go. Lawrence Taylor, 4th quarter. The game was tied at 6 when he made this interception. Goes back 97 yards.
Wow.
Earlier in the game, he had sacked Gary Danielson once, and now he brought him back all the way to the end zone. That's number 3. Here's number 2. Barry Sanders. This was the 97 game. He ran for 167 yards and 3 touchdowns. He made every player on the Chicago Bears defense fall down at least once. That's an unofficial
How many
stat.
ankles he broke?
I was
that
probably
game.
wearing his jersey that day watching
Number
the game.
one.
Yeah.
Number one.
Oh, there you
Oh,
go.
this is it.
Come on.
This is it.
Randy, are you kidding me? This is Randy Moss as a rookie. Look at him go. Randy Moss as a rookie in 1998. 3 touchdown catches. He had 3 catches on the day. All 3 were touchdowns, 163 yards, and 3 scores.
And those came against the Dallas Cowboy team that bypassed him in the draft.
Yep.
And Jerry Jones, as we know, Greeny, later apologized to Randy for not picking him in the draft. Jerry knew that he didn't make the right move.
For those of you not old enough to remember it, it was a happening. It was a seismic event. I'll say it again. He caught 3 passes on the day. They were a 51-yard touchdown, a 56-yard touchdown, and another 56-yard touchdown, and then said, "Hi, Mom, happy Thanksgiving,"
tell
to
the
the
defense
cameras.
back.
This is my favorite one. This was actually the 3rd one.
These guys have the angle on them, right?
All of
They have
them
the
do.
angle.
They got him dead to rights.
And then they don't.
And then they don't. Randy was unbelievable. Again, we told you D. Wood played in that game on Thanksgiving that Peyton Manning scored all the touchdowns.
Yeah.
I think I have video of that. If I'm not mistaken, someone told me that we do have video. It's coming. D. Wood, there's the big fella.
Right there. Right
Look
there.
at D. Wood.
Right there.
See, what
Right
people,
there.
Quarterback getting sacked, and it's on you.
Look at that, man. This don't even make any sense, man. I was still moving people out the way now. But the game was just nasty.
what people
It
don't
was
remember
nasty.
about that game is that game drove D. Wood into retirement. Frank Ragno's come out of retirement, and that game drove D. Wood into retirement.
Very quick one more because I got Peyton. What's your favorite game, J-Mac, on Thanksgiving?
Oh, 2010, I remember watching this game. The Lions are playing against the New England Patriots, and I'm watching a rookie out there, number 32, my twin brother, Damien McCourty, matched up, taking a pick from Calvin Johnson. This is right around the time. You have a game like this on Thanksgiving as a rookie. Some of them old college girls that wasn't giving you the time of the day, they're sitting with their family, they're watching like, damn, is that Devin? Yeah. Shoot him a text and see how he's doing. That was rookie year, so I was on some bad teams I never played on Thanksgiving.
Very well done. Terrific day of football. We're delighted to be here. We're thrilled you've chosen to get up with us. It is a football feast we have ahead of us, and let's dive in. Fortenbaugh, will Jordan Love and the Packers feast on the Lions defense?
Yep, this secondary has big problems. Last week, Jameis Winston threw for 395 yards and 3 touchdowns. He was the 3rd-string quarterback on the depth chart to begin the season. J.J. McCarthy led Minnesota to 27 points against this defense. Packers are going to spring the upset today. Love's going to have a huge day through the air as a result.
They are an underdog in this game. D. Wood, will Joe Burrow feast on the Ravens defense tonight?
Yeah, he's going to play well. Listen, we know that in the last 4 games, he has 12 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. He always plays well. Doesn't necessarily mean they're going to win,
right?
But he's going to play well against that Baltimore Ravens defense.
Yeah, it's less about Burrow than it is about the defense, even though he obviously would be the headliner. And then J-Mac, speaking of the headliner, will Dak Prescott feast on the Kansas City defense today?
Why do we always have to say the offense is going to feast? Can't it just be a good game and some good defense out there? Yeah, no, I'm saying he is not going to feast. I have this as a low-scoring game.
Wow.
I think it finishes in a 1-score game, but I do believe the Cowboys come out on top.
Well, look, the Cowboys' offense at home has been very good this year. They have the #1 passing offense at home. They're top 5 in scoring and yards per play and red zone touchdown percentage, which Dominique Foxworth told us yesterday is going to decide this game. Who comes away with 7s and who comes away with 3s could ultimately be what decides this game. Just very quickly on what J-Mac just said. The total is fairly high,
52.5, that's a big number.
Which is a big number. So that's suggesting that we think it's going to be a high-scoring game.
Yeah, and it's also going to be heavily watched. Everyone at home, the public loves to bet overs.
Yeah.
And with these two teams, you think Mahomes, you think Prescott, you think scoring, which is why I like where your head's at, a little bit of a contrarian play here. You're going to be sweating that one out, by the way. You're going to be sweating that the whole way.
If you bet the under on this game, you're watching that fourth quarter.
Oh, my God.
The tryptophan is setting in, and you're like, overshow and make a play. But here, I guess, is the larger question. These two teams, I just thought of this question, so we hadn't prepared it. But, D. Wood, I mean, you played on some Thanksgivings and all that kind of thing. These two teams both played huge games 4 days ago.
Yeah.
Right? The Cowboys just won one of the biggest regular season games they've won in forever. We know what that meant. To climb back from 21-0 and win that game, the overwhelming emotions that must have gone on like in the immediate aftermath. The Chiefs, were basically dead to rights, down 11 points in the fourth quarter, and somehow found a way to come all the way back.
Yeah.
They had 91 offensive plays, and they win a game in overtime. Does that – sometimes I feel like defenses get more tired than offenses. If these teams playing 4 days later off emotional wins, does that also lend itself to bigger offensive numbers?
Well, I mean, listen, I would say outside the physical where both of these teams are going to be tired, I actually like this for both teams because they didn't have time to dwell on their big wins. You had to turn the page real quick knowing that we got another huge matchup on Thanksgiving Day where everyone's going to be watching. And so for a team like the Dallas Cowboys, who's, been known for being a front-running team and get caught up and stuff like that, it's like, no. Yeah, we beat Philadelphia. But guess what? We got the Kansas City Chiefs, who are also desperate to get another win. And so you have to turn the page and get ready for another big game.
Okay, so all the stars, well, not all, but most of the biggest names in this game, Dak Prescott, George Pickens, C.D. Lamb, Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, they play offense. But there is a star on the Dallas defense that J-Mac wants to make sure you are watching today because he could be the difference in the game today.
Yeah, I think he will be. The Cowboys winning over Sean, their linebacker, number 0, who's back in action. Didn't even play all the snaps, but he makes such a big difference on this defense. The number one thing he brings is speed. And the way he plays the game, I think it ignites and brings energy to everyone. But he's going to be in the middle of this defense. We always talk about Patrick Mahomes in those biggest moments. It's a big scramble to either throw or run. He is going to be the guy tasked with whether he's spying or sitting there in zone coverage. He is going to have to be the one to get Patrick Mahomes on the ground. I think he plays a huge part in the game this day.
Because that's what this game basically comes down to. The defense has been better the last couple of weeks. And with the absence of Tyler Smith, the outstanding offensive guard for the Kansas – what did I say?
Tyler Smith.
Sorry.
Tyler
Trey
Guyton's
Smith.
out for the Cowboys. Trey Smith for the Cowboys.
No Tyler on one side, no Trey on the other. The absence of Trey Smith, does that suggest to you, D. Wood, that this Dallas defense that has been more stout in the middle of the defensive line, do they have a good day today?
Absolutely. You talk about, a guy who's made an immediate impact since the trade deadline. That's Quinnen Williams. Quinnen Williams has been phenomenal for the Dallas Cowboys defense, and you pair him with Kenny Clark, another one that they actually got in the trade for Michael Parsons, and now all of a sudden you turn a weakness into a strength on your team, and with no Trey Smith, their Pro Bowl guard for the Kansas City Chiefs, you have an opportunity to really wreak havoc in the middle of the field. And you look at the graphic right here. It's a small 2-game sample, and one of those games was against the Las Vegas Raiders. Sometimes you have to throw that out. But they have been markedly better on defense, especially in the interior of that Dallas defensive front.
It's just a feel that you get from watching Dallas. The defense looks stronger, tougher, faster. Quinnen Williams has gotten more pressure in the center of the line than any defensive lineman in football the last couple of weeks from in the center. DeMarion Overshown has come back and brought a totally new element. It feels like we're watching an entirely new Dallas defense. They were awful early on, and they're just not that way anymore. And we talked about the fact that with that offense performing at the level it has this year, they just needed the defense to be okay and get some turnovers. It's been that.
And the reality is, it is an all-new defense. Going back to that Vegas game, they had 5 new starters.
Yes.
2 they had acquired, Logan Wilson and Quinn Williams, and 3 coming back from injury, including DeMarvion Overshown. So they are an entirely new defense. And so people are buying into that. And then I look at Joe Fortenbaugh, and you're a little bit less confident.
Way less confident. I think they're going to get lit up today. Not in the sense where they give up 40.
Joe!
Everybody calm down. Not in the sense that they're going to give up 40 or 400 yards, but I think you're going to see about 28 points. Kansas City puts on him here. You guys just talked about it earlier, the short turnaround and what it means to the mindset and getting ready for the next team. Historically, teams on a short week getting ready for Mahomes have fared in dreadful fashion. Trying to prepare for him and this offense with a limited amount of time has been a disastrous situation. He's played behind poor offensive lines for a while now. He knows how to get the ball out of his hands. One of the most popular bets today that we saw get steamed up earlier in the week was the completions prop for Patrick Mahomes, over 23.5. It's going to be nickel and diming Dallas's defense all the way down the field.